Hello neighbor, this is Curt with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Benton LittleShift Hitch Bike Rack, and we're going to see how it works with our 2021 Buick Encore. Now, a hitch bike rack is an excellent option to transport your bike from home to the trail. There are other options like rooftop bike racks, but those can be inconvenient lifting your bike up and down. And there are, of course, trunk-mounted bike racks, but those can be a bit of a pain to set up and take down. So a hitch bike rack could be an excellent option. This is going to go into your 2x2-inch hitch. It is a wheel mount, as you can see right now, but it has the added feature of being able to convert to a frame mount. All you would need to do is pop this button here on our hook, lift it off of our tower there, bring it back to the frame, and we could set it in place right here. So the versatility of this is going to come in really handy. If you have fenders on your bike, you're going to be able to put it on the frame mount. And if you have a carbon fiber frame or a special custom paint job or anything like that, you can convert it over here to the wheel mount. And if neither of those are a factor with your bike, the wheel mount is the easiest way to get it on and off. It is going to be a powder-coated steel, so it's going to be really corrosion resistant, but despite that, this bike rack only weighs 25 pounds. So it's easy to install and uninstall, or you could just let it live in the hitch if you want to without giving us much interference. Now, as far as how it interacts with our Encore, it does keep a pretty snug fit. Now, this is a very large frame bike. We've got handlebars here that go about 15.5 inches, so it is on the bigger end of different bike sizes. But as you can see, even on a rougher terrain, there's really no danger of the end of the handlebars or the pedal contacting the back of our vehicle. But like with any hitch bike rack, we are going to get some visual interference, meaning other drivers are going to see partially blocked taillights. Our license plate is going to be obstructed, as well as our rear view camera. So it can be really important to just double check and understand what kind of footprint this is leaving behind our vehicle. To understand what we got back here, I'm going to take a measurement from our bumper to the furthest point on the bike rack, which is going to be right here. And looking at that, we're at about just under 17 inches. So keep that in mind. You've almost got a 1.5 feet extra back here that you're going to want to be accountable for whenever you're trying to back into a tight space or trying to parallel park. The other thing that we're going to take a look at is our ground clearance. Now, the shank here does have a little bit of a rise to it to kind of help us out. It does sit close to the vehicle, which also helps us out. But our ground clearance for this is going to be at around 11.5 inches. So you just want to kind of keep that in mind as far as like coming across any steep driveways or inclines. The other thing is that this bike rack has a weight capacity for your bike of 80 pounds, which means it's going to be able to accommodate some of those heavier e-bikes out there. And if you have a bike that gets up in its weight range, you're going to want to understand exactly how high we need to lift it. We would need to lift it just over 14 inches in order to get it into the wheel trays. So just bear that in mind. Whatever your bike weighs, make sure you're comfortable lifting it up and bringing it down from that height. In order to load and unload the bike, it's a really simple process. We have 3 points of contact. We have the arm and hook, which we looked at briefly. We also have 2 wheel straps down here as well. They do have a rubber pad on them to help protect your wheels. So the first thing we want to do when unloading the bike is take off our wheel straps. Now, when loading the bike, the wheel straps will go last. For obvious reasons, we want this up here, keeping the bike upright. So since we're taking it off, we're going to start with the wheel straps. Just kind of feed these back through the wheel, and then we'll do the same on the back here. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and grab the frame, make sure it stays upright. Detach my hook. I'm going to move it in front of the wheel to clear it, and now I'm able to remove my bike, and now I can either go ahead and store it in my garage or hit the trail. There are a couple of nice little added features to this bike rack that I really like as well. One, on this plate here, we got these 2 really open holes. Those are perfect for running a cable lock through here and your bike and securing it onto the rack just to protect it from theft. The other thing we have is, because we have a little bit of a grip texture here, this acts as a nice little platform to be able to step up on. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, you might be somebody that has a roof rack with some roof cargo on it, and being able to get up from this angle as well as from each side could be an enormous help when you're arranging or, unloading some of your cargo. And having this step right here makes that really, really convenient. Now, because I really like to use this step, there is one other little item that I do recommend you get really with any hitch accessory, and that's the etrailer anti-rattle hitch collar. This has this so solid in here, there really is no extra movement at all. But if I was to disengage it, and the way this works is this little block is going to come down here and wedge it into place, into the corner of the hitch. But if I disengage that, there's an awful lot of movement. Now, having something like this, keeping it still, is going to make for a much more comfortable, quiet ride when you're going down the road with or without your bike on it. But especially if you're going to be using that step, you don't really want any wobble out of this at all. So the anti-rattle hitch collar is an enormous improvement over the shaking and the movement that you would get without it. And when it's all said and done, in between rides, it ends up being a nice place to sit down and relax after a long day on the trail. So there's a look at the Benton LittleShift Hitch Bike Rack on our 2021 Buick Encore. I'm Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.